Hey dude, so I saw that you're living in Japan as well, so I figured, well, I'm not there yet, I'll be there in 3 weeks, but I figured I'd create some Gai Kokujin dialogue by responding to your post. There seems to be some problems in your definitions, in your language use. For example, belief. Um, if we want to give the constraints of the word belief the way you're using it, then no one really believes anything. Because under your definition, it seems in order to believe something, you have to give everything you are to that thing, or at least be focused or be consistent in your belief. But that's not really how belief in actuality works. I believe in democracy. Should I therefore be, if I believe that democracy is the best and only way for human society to flourish, then should I not be actively pursuing that? But really, we don't. I think also that you're confusing belief in and belief that. Belief in implies just the existence of. Whereas belief that implies attributes, etc., etc. So belief in the fact that a God exists does not imply belief that he has certain qualities, certain attributes. And then even within believing that, it could be believing in a certain religion, believing that a certain religion is correct, and believing that a certain interpretation of that religion is correct. That's a lot to assume. So basically, all you're saying is that if you believe that fundamentalist claims of certain fundamentalist interpretations of religion are correct, then you must actually become a fundamentalist terrorist, etc., etc. But that is such a small grouping of beliefs and interpretations to begin with that you still lose ground. So you still end up having to figure out, well, what about everyone else? Now, when it comes to belief in God, you're assuming a few things. You're assuming first, of course, a certain type of God. For example, you're excluding multi-theistic religions that believe in some good gods and bad gods, etc., etc. You're excluding different interpretations of religions. There's problems here of how to define belief, how to define religion, and how you're defining God. Now you assume that in order to be a believer, you would be fanatical. One that's also a fundamental, etc., etc. You're assuming that people like Mother Teresa, people like Gandhi, people like Thomas Aquinas, all these people that did give their lives for their belief in God, but not in a way that you're talking, but in a different fanatical way. One in case of the mental for Aquinas, the other in the case of love and for loving others. You were saying that that religion is supposed to be, and supposed to say that this is that the earth is our existence is a blink of the eye, and so it doesn't really matter. It's all about heaven. That actually contradicts. In my opinion, would contradict the whole point of religion. Religion would base, at least the whole point of some religions. Obviously, once again, a definitional problem of what religion we're talking about here and what God we're talking about here. But for example, I think when it comes to like Islam or Christianity or Judaism, the whole point of life actually, the whole point of religion is to say how special life itself actually is. I mean, if all we have is this blink of the eye, blah blah blah, then this blink of the eye, as opposed to all of eternity, this one split second, is different from the rest of eternity, and therefore would it not be the most special, the most precious, since it's only this one time around, and therefore by wasting it, by not enjoying life, by not seeing as much as you can, doing as much as you can in this world, are you not therefore slapping God in the face? So would not belief entail not being fanatical, but would not belief in that kind of religion, that kind of God, would that not belief entail being nice to others, enjoying life, eating ice cream, enjoying yourself? Lastly, you're assuming that belief in itself must be the only priority in life. But based on what we said before, there are some religions that would dictate that life in itself is a gift, and therefore there are other things to be considered when doing an action, such as the existence of others. By being a terrorist, am I not actually harming others who were also created by this God being thing? And therefore, am I not actually contradicting myself, my belief in doing so? We also have to think about socially created norms, socially created morals and ideas. Things that have evolved we also have to think about, for example, pleasure and pain, nourishment, work, all these other constraints in our lives that don't allow the average person to focus all this time on one certain thing. If a God existed, he would know that. Therefore, it's implied within the system of belief in the God that this God would also understand that 24 hours a day is not meant to be spent on that belief. Otherwise, this God would not know things that we know, and most religions believe that God would at least know as many things as we know. So yeah, anyway, these are a bunch of things that might be a problem with what you've been saying. About your position. Maybe you are correct, you never know, but in order to prove that, you'd have to, or at least to argue that, you'd have to address my concerns.